Hello everybody and welcome to round 2 of the PBL playoffs. I am Evan, head coach of the Saffron City Sneasels, and this week we are taking on the commissioner himself, Nick, head coach of the Cerulean City Psyducks. This is a very good match. Spent a lot of time putting a lot of preparation in this match against Nick, as he has a very scary team. Of note is his Mega Venusaur, who is at the top of the MVP standings as of right now, at least in pure numbers. And he's something you always have to put a lot of time into prepping for. So let's get into this match. So going into this match, in addition to the Mega Venusaur, I also really was trying to put a lot of time into prepping for Zygarde 10%, which he did not bring, which was good for me. He opens out with his Heatran, probably assuming I would lead with Ferrothorn or something. I do go with the Coco because I see he doesn't have a ground type on his team, so I can Volt Switch as freely as I want. I go for the Volt Switch, expecting him to probably set up Stealth Rocks or something. And I go out to my Colgate, the Zygarde, which is Choice Banded, because his team doesn't really have anybody that can take a Choice Banded 1000 Arrows. The only one that even takes it like somewhat well would be Mega Venusaur, but it has to get a turn to Mega Evolve first. So he goes out to Yolandi, the Sylveon, which I was worried about only because if it was a Choice Specs Sylveon, I was going to have a lot of trouble dealing with that thing. You will see throughout the match that it does appear to be a support version of Sylveon, which I'm much more well equipped to handle. The 1000 Arrows does a little bit less than half. I know I'm not going to be able to finish off with another 1000 Arrows, and I don't know if I would die from a Hyper Voice, but it would be close. So I go out to the Ferrothorn, who is able to easily tank the Hyper Voice. I do fear a Hidden Power Fire, but seeing that I got the leftovers and the Hyper Voice didn't hit too hard, I figured this was a support set, so it probably wouldn't have extra attacking moves. So I felt comfortable staying in there, and I believe now I go for my Stealth Rocks. Here comes the Dino Plant, which is the natural switch in, and I had to fear both Hidden Power Fire and Hidden Power Ice on this thing, because I wasn't sure which one he was going to try and catch off guard, the Ferrothorn or the Zygarde. So I get my rocks up. I'm going to switch out. There's nothing I can do to that thing anyway. And out comes Rocket, one of my 2 answers to Venusaur. And he's going to Mega Evolve here, becoming the big, bulky Dino Plant that we all know and hate. This thing has a ton of tanked hits, a ton of KOs, and he goes out for the Hidden Power. With how much damage that does and the fact that I resisted, I know that this is Hidden Power Fire, so that's somewhat good news for the Zygarde, bad news for the Ferrothorn, but like I said, the Ferrothorn wasn't going to do anything against this guy anyway. So he switches out fearing the Psychic, and he goes out to X-Skull and give it to him, the Metagross. I believe I go for the Psyshock here. Psyshock is a little bit better against his team than Psychic, specifically because of the Sylveon, who has great special defense. So it does almost nothing to the Metagross, no surprise there. And I'm going to switch out to Linguini, the Melodic, who has been doing a lot for me these last few weeks. She has really rose over the last, I'd say, 6-7 weeks as kind of like my secondary tank, and has been doing a great job. He goes for the Z Stealth Rock, which was a very peculiar move here. I get that he does get the defense bonus here. It doesn't help him against Linguini, as I'm going to be able to just keep throwing out Scalds, and maybe I'll get a burn, and I'll be happy. And I get the burn on the first try, so lucky me, happy me. He sets up the light screen, so I can see that this is kind of more of a support Metagross, which is a strange decision because I think that an offensive Metagross would have been a little bit scarier for my team, as he learns all of the elemental punches, which could really help him in this match against me. I also have 2 fairies on my team, one of which only takes neutral damage from steel moves, but still, it would hurt a lot. So he's got the light screen up, he's got the Stealth Rocks up, and I go for the Scald, just trying to hit whatever comes on in, and I get the burn again. Lucky me again. I'm a happy, lucky boy with a good little noodle here. And the noodle is Linguini, in case that wasn't clear. I think it was clear. Out comes the Latias to handle whatever he's going to throw me, and he goes for the Giga Drain. Makes sense. Safe move on his part. I made a good read here. And now I know I get to force the switch again. I don't exactly remember what I do on this next turn. It has been a few days since the battle. But anyway, this burn is negating pretty much all of the minimal recovery he's getting from these resisted Giga Drains, and he goes back out to X-Gon and give it to him. I think I just go for another Psyshock. I do, because I do want to play safe earlier in these rounds, and I got the Stealth Rocks, I got the slight damage, I got the burn. This Metagross is slowly getting whittled down, and as long as I kind of have the advantage in terms of switch priority, I'm feeling comfortable, and I do right now, because I've got these answers that are working pretty well. I go out to 6-pack Tapu Koko because I feel pretty comfortable that I'll be able to handle whatever's going to come this way. I don't always like to switch this guy in too aggressively, but I do it here. He goes for the Ice Punch, and that does pretty much nothing because he burned. Light Screen wears off just in time, as I had hoped. Or I was counting, actually. Because I figured he still was like... or I knew he was Z-moved. Yes. So I finish him off with the Thunderbolt. Koko 6-pack picks up the KO, and out comes Hypnotoad again. Which is an interesting switch in, because I know I can Volt Switch right out. Oh no, I can't. I'm Choice Scarfed. That's right. Wow, it has been like 3 days, and I've already turned all of my knowledge of this match. So yeah, I have to manually switch out. He goes for the Hidden Power. It does. I'm resisting it, so I believe that this one would be Hidden Power Ice for the Zygarde. He probably expected me to go to the Zygarde again. So it's a good thing that I went to the Melodic there. And then I bring back out the Latias, because I know he's going to have to switch, because I forced out with the water. And this time he goes out to Dino Plant, so I made a good prediction here. I have the advantage. He takes the Stealth Rocks. I also take the Stealth Rocks, but he has to switch out again. So good for me. And this time he cannot go out to Metagross because Metagross is down, so I'm kind of free to just Psyshock again. And whoever wants to take it gets to take some base 80 stab move damage, and it's Yolandi. So the Psyshock is going to be a lot better than the Psychic this week, and this was the main reason why. Stealth Rocks take their toll, I get the Psyshock, and it's going to do a good amount of damage. It does, I would say, about 30%. About 30%. He gets the leftovers, and I'm thinking, okay, yeah, I can probably finish off from here, but it is close. I'm a little nervous about it. I believe I do go, yeah, he goes for the Protect to ensure more leftovers healing, and now I don't think I can KO without getting a high roll. So that was a good move on his part, and I got to switch, because I do not want to risk not KOing on the Psyshock and then losing my Mega Venusaur check. It's important to remember what the Pokemon's real objective is on your team, and Latias' goal is not to handle this Sylveon, that's just bonus. So I go out to Rage Quit, who's going to be able to take this hit pretty well, but he goes for a Wish instead, hoping to heal up, which is a pretty good move on his part. And my Togekiss is going to recover some of that Stealth Rocks damage with the leftovers. And he gets his leftovers too. I think that it's very possible that he's just going to Protect and get his own Wish, but he switches out to try and heal up his Hypnotoad, which, good play on his part. A little unfortunate for me because I go for the Nasty Plot, and I decided not to bring Aura Sphere this week, and that kind of hurts me here because I'm not able to hit this Heat Brand. So I kind of lost a turn here, because I'm going to have to switch out here, fearing that he might have like a Steel move, or even if he has a Fire move, it's going to hit me neutrally, and I can't really touch him, because he resists the 2 attacks I do have. So I go back out to the Linguini. Linguini's in a great spot, cannot really be touched by the Heat Ran. Even a Grass Knot does less than half, and I don't think he has Grass Knot. He goes for the Flash Cannon, hoping probably to get my Togekiss. And I'm going to handle that pretty well. Feeling pretty comfortable. And I'm going to go for the Scald, and this time he does not switch out. And it does about a quarter, maybe a little bit more. And then he's going to go for the Rock Slide, which is an interesting choice. I'm not sure what the Rock Slide was trying to hit. I guess he just felt like he had nothing else to hit the Linguini with, but he wanted to just stay in one more turn. He goes out to Horus, the Sigilif, and this is a pretty scary Pokemon against my team because it has excellent coverage moves. It learns It has a huge move pool. For an NU Pokemon, it's actually very good. It just gets outclassed, which is why it's in NU. I really like this Pokemon. I go for the Ice Beam, though. It does good damage, and he sets up a Trick Room. Trick Room, I knew he was going to have some sort of speed control on his team. Going into the match, I actually thought it was going to be Sticky Web, but he went for Trick Room instead. I'm not too bothered by that, though, because I've got my tanks still alive, and they're going to be able to handle that. He gets another Trick Room off, or sorry, he gets another Roost off. This was weird. If I'm paying attention correctly, I think the Ice Beam hits him. I don't know, I think we might have speed tied, me and the Sigilith. I'm really not sure. But anyway, he goes up to the Yolandi, and the Yolandi is unfortunately faster than me now in the Trick Room. But Yolandi can't really do anything to me, so I've got that going for me. She goes for the Wish, and I think I just go for the Scald, trying to pick up the KO. And I successfully do get the KO. So that was good for me. I'm basically stalling out the Trick Room and allowing the leftovers to keep my Melodic nice and healthy and happy. So now the Dino Plant is going to be faster than the Melodic. I need to get out anyway because Ice Beam's only hitting neutrally and it wouldn't even do enough. I don't want to give this thing an opportunity to Giga Drain my HP away. So out comes the Latias again, and he goes for the Sludge Wave, trying to make a prediction. And it does about a little bit more than a third. Pretty good damage. I do not get poisoned, so lucky me. I'm winning the battle of 30%. I got my 2 Scalds. He did not get his poison, so I'm happy with that. I go for the Psyshock now because that's what this thing's job is. Take out the Dino Plant. And he goes for another Sludge Bomb, hoping to just pick up the KO, I think. I think at this point he's kind of been... He's got his back up against the wall, and he needs to just start putting damage out on me, even if that means letting the Dino Plant get hurt. He does take it out, though, because he's hoping to save it for later. And he goes out to the Hypnotoad, who I cannot hurt right now. It's pretty good on his part. I go for the Psyshock, and it's going to be resisted. There's a lot of switching in this match, but it's a good match. It's just, it's long, because we're both trying to play very carefully. And thankfully we both have our rocks up, though, so it's going a little faster than it could have. Back out to the Linguini again. Like I said, this thing has been doing so much work for me. Goes for the Rock Slide. Yeah, I don't know. The Rock Slide, it's a weird choice. I think maybe he was hoping to hit... I don't know what he was trying to hope to hit with the Rock Slide, other than just having a move to do neutral damage to people. Maybe get a flinch off on people. I don't know. Because I'm trying to think about like who would be weak to Rock Slide on my team. And the only one I can think of is Togekiss, who's already weak to the Steel move, Flash Cannon. Anyway, Horus goes out for the Roost here without a Trick Room. So this is where I'm confused. I think we are speed tied because I was faster before. Now he's able to be fast enough to get the Roost off. I go for the Ice Beam and it's going to just hit neutrally, unfortunately. However, I don't think that this Sigilith has Thunderbolt, so I feel pretty good staying in. He goes for the Roost, showing that he is faster again. Maybe I miscounted earlier? I'm not sure. I feel like I was faster the first turn. I could be misremembering. Anyway, Linguini is not threatened, so he's going to try to set up his Trick Room again, I'm pretty sure. And... okay, yeah, I was faster this turn, so it is a speed tie. And now he sets up the Trick Room. I wonder if he set his... because I have no EVs in my Melodic for speed. Does the Sigilith... I'm actually going to look this up right now, because I don't think they have the same speed. Hopefully you cannot hear my typing. But if you can, it doesn't really matter. No, Sigilith has 97 speed. Maybe he has a... okay, he probably has a negative speed nature, which happens to tie him with Melodic. That's a neat little coincidence. I'm guessing he didn't plan for that. Maybe he did. And then, so I go out to the 3-peat here because... why did I go out to the 3-peat here? Oh, I think I was expecting somebody else. That's why I did that. And unfortunately, he is able to just Synthesis heal up, which is not super cool for me. My 3P's also going to be healing up. Ugh, these matches, some of them are just kind of long. This one's, yeah, a lot of turns. Alright, so I got to the Colgate, knowing that he has hidden power fire and not hidden power ice. Giga Drain will hit me neutrally, but that's okay. And he goes for another Synthesis. He really wants to keep his MVP healthy. Can't blame him there. He probably knows that he's not going to win without his Dino Plant. But now I'm in a pretty good position because he doesn't know this. But, so he goes faster because he's in Trick Room, which actually kind of hurts him because he doesn't get to heal up anything. And then I go for the Zen Headbutt. He didn't even know that this Pokemon learns Zen Headbutt, but it does. And it does over half. And, yeah, it's really convenient that Trick Room is up, and the Trick Room ends now. So now I'm faster, so he's not going to be able to heal up again. So the Trick Room really backfired on him, but I switch out because I'm expecting him to switch out. Because I know he wants to keep his Pokemon alive. So I bring out the Tapu Koko, expecting the switch. Electric Terrain, popping off. Cool little dancer guy. And out comes the Hypnotoad. So that went perfectly for me. And when the Hypnotoad's this low, I'm pretty sure I can KO. So I just go for the Thunderbolt. And that is going to finish off the Heat Ram. That's, I think, the second KO for my boy Tapu Koko. Doing his job. And then out comes Stretch. The Hitmonlee. I was prepared for Hitmonlee going into this match. I was fearing an Electric Seed Unburdened set. However, the Electric Seed does not trigger when he enters play, so I realized that's not the set he's running. So I go out to the Linguini, just trying to scout whatever he's got, and he goes for the knockoff. He was probably trying to remove my Scarf, I guess? I don't know. And then he goes for the Close Combat, and it does a good amount of damage. A lot of damage. And I'm going to answer back, I think, with a Scald? Yes. So my Linguini is pretty weak. I don't remember if I get another chance to heal it up. I do not get the burn on this one, which, I can't really complain about that. That's fair. He goes for the Closest Combat to finish off the Linguini. And now he's at -2 defense and special defense, so I know that whoever I bring in, he's probably going to have to switch out unless he has a priority move like Mach Punch. I go back out to Rocket because I know that he's faster because if he is unburdened, he hasn't lost an item. So I'm thinking he's probably reckless if it. He wouldn't be reckless either though because he's run Close Combat. So I do still think it is maybe an unburdened set, hoping to get knocked off or something. I'll find out later what it really is. I go for the Psyshock on the Horus. It does some damage, not quite enough. And it's kind of a gamble. I feel like the Psyshock might be enough. I'm just going to play it safe and go for the Draco Meteor because I need to make sure I kill. And that's what I do here. Draco Meteor does finish off easily. It's kind of overkill, but the Psyshock might have missed. So it might have left him alive with a little bit more, and then he'd get the Trick Room up or Roost. It's towards the end of the game. I gotta take the big play. Back comes Stretch. And he's going to fake me out. And here comes the normal gem, which is the Unburdened set. So he was running some sort of neat set involving Unburden. It just wasn't the Electric Seed. I believe this was courtesy of Ian. So now he's faster than me. He goes for the knockoff. Boom. That does a good chunk of damage. Thankfully, though, I've whittled this guy down with a previous Scald. So my Choice Banded Zygarde is able to KO with the extreme speed. With the Choice Band, it does like 75. I think it does like 65 to 75%. So it does easily enough to finish off Hitmonlee. And from there, that's going to be the game. He does have the Dino Plant here. I can't remember if I think I just go for another extreme speed to close up the game. So, GG, Nick. You played great this season. I do think your Dino Plant will get the MVP this year. You definitely deserve to make it this far. And congrats to you. But more importantly, congrats to me. I am returning to the finals for the 3rd straight season, and I get to face off against, spoiler alert if you haven't watched the other battle, Raul, the newcomer to the league. So it's very cool that I get to face off against somebody who's new to the league in the finals. Raul had a great season this year, and I'm very excited to show down against him. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching, and tune in for the finals.